It took 32 years to finally accomplish, but the Detroit Lions indeed finally did it. They have won a playoff game, and we're going to talk about it here today, folks, so stay tuned. We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10-5, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions.
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions, and
we are driven by Detroit.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in. But before we dive in, I just want to say thank you all to my loyal subscribers that are coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, and your patronage. It absolutely means the world to me that I have such loyal subscribers. And to those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for giving me your view. I hope you all enjoy the content, but even more so, I hope to gain your subscription if I've earned and deserved it. And with that being said, I just want to say to all the Lions fans out there, congratulations. Hope y'all are having a great day. God bless. Let's dive into the show. So, I can't quite put into words, folks, what last night truly was for Lions fans. You can call it a whole bunch of things. You can call it the end of SOL. You can call it the beginning of the New Era Lions. You can call it a whole bunch of things. But all I know is that last night was probably one of those moments that in human history where it's just like everything came together in perfect harmony. Everything came together the way that it was supposed to be. Because if you think about it, it's like, dude, the Lions, 32 years since we last won a playoff game. And by God, we finally won one. We finally won a playoff game. I cannot tell you how many times this week I literally prayed and prayed and prayed for us to win this game. I must have prayed a good 5-6 different times, like, Lord, please let us win this game. And it's just like, dude, not only did we win the game, but it's like this game literally now has the Lions set up in such a beautiful position. But let's just talk about the game and being won for the moment, because there's a lot of stuff this week we're going to talk about for the Lions, and we'll get to that in later episodes, but let's just enjoy this for what it is right now. 32 years, folks. I'm almost 30 years old, and we won a playoff game. And we won a playoff game in probably the most dramatic fashion and probably the most overhyped dramatic game outside of a Super Bowl that I have ever seen in the playoffs. Because you got to think about it here, folks. Everybody who has ever watched football, postseason football at least anyway, will all say the same thing. When it comes down to postseason football, things usually get overhyped a little bit. But this was probably the most overhyped wild card game that I have probably seen or heard of in a long time. And again, like the title says, it was sweet victory. I mean, again, I don't know who all here has watched SpongeBob, but I remember I was sitting there watching the Lions win, and literally that SpongeBob episode where he's singing to the freaking stadium of fans literally kind of rang through my head a little bit, and I was like, man, it's an odd thought to think about it this way, but I'm like, yeah, it's sweet victory. And it was just so awesome, because you have to think about it. This game was literally kind of like a crowning jewel moment, if you will, for the Lions. And I know for some people that's going to sound like, well, that's not exactly saying a whole lot, but for us Lions fans, that is saying something. Because again, this season has been a season for the ages for the Lions, because we have not had this much success in a season in a long time. We won the division crown. That right there was something that hadn't happened in 30 years. We won a playoff game. That's something that hasn't happened in 32 years. We did it both years. And it's just like, dude, we haven't done that together in 32 years. It's just like, dude, like this season was absolutely an unprecedented success for the Detroit Lions. And when you think about it in also perspective with, like I was saying, about how much this wild card game was kind of like amped up. I mean, again, I remember watching postseason football, and there were narratives, there were games outside of the Super Bowl that really got amped up when it came to the postseason. And probably the one game that always seemed to get amped up more than any was when freaking quarterback Peyton Manning and Tom Brady played together, because it was the Manning versus Brady Bowl. And every stinking year, it seemed like we were always going to get that in the postseason. And every time, that game was always kind of like typed up as like a precursor, if you will, to the Super Bowl. Because it was like, okay, whoever wins that game is most likely going to go to the Super Bowl. And almost every single time, whoever did win that game almost did win the Super Bowl. Because if I recall correctly, Brady went to the Super Bowl, 10 times, and he lost only 3. And Manning went 4 times and lost only 2. So if you think about it, out of 14 Super Bowls between the two quarterbacks, between them, they won 9 out of 14 times. That's a pretty good indicator right there. But think about it, folks. Like, truly think about it. This game for the Detroit Lions, I have never in my life for a wild card matchup seen so much hype, so much ampage, if you will, just for this matchup. And it was just like the media literally gobbled it up. They literally were going on every single narrative that had to do with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Everything that had to do with Sean McVay and Jared Goff. Like, that's what makes this playoff victory just that much more sweet for us Lions fans. Because it was like, listen, I'm just going to say this right now. All the pressure to win this game was on the Detroit Lions. Like, the Rams didn't have any pressure to win. Everyone can say that they did, but they didn't. Because it was like, listen, when it came down to Vegas, Vegas had the Lions winning. When it came down to fans across America, they had the Lions winning. When it came down to just the fact that the Lions were the much more talented team, virtually everybody had the Lions winning. The only fools that didn't think the Lions were winning were the majority of all the freaking, national media analysts, especially those at ESPN. But the point of the matter is all the pressure was on the Lions to win this game, because it's like, listen, they're trying to beat the Rams for Goff. Goff's trying to beat his old team. He's trying to beat McVay. He's trying to prove them wrong. The Lions are trying to snap a 32-year playoff win drought. Like, all the pressure was on the Lions to win this game. And not only did this young playoff team handle that pressure, handle 32 years of pressure from a fan base that's been crying out for a win. They handle the pressure, but then they win the game in probably one of the most freaking ridiculously dramatic pressurized moments I can think of. Because think about it, folks. We're watching the game, and literally it's like, I'm sitting here, and it's like, I can't believe what I'm seeing before my very eyes. The first half of the game, the Lions offense did exactly what it needed to do. Was going down, drive after drive after drive, was getting points. Exactly what we knew it was going to do. And then, kind of like as soon as halftime happened, it was a reverse effect. The offense then started to not do anything in the second half, and then the defense actually started making plays. Not a lot, but just enough to make it to where we were still in the game. Because if you think about it, in that second half, the defense forced 2, if I recall correctly, field goals from Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And it's not like Matthew Stafford and the Rams were not making plays. They were driving up and down the field several times. And it was just like, dude, we're not getting stops at any point. But it was like, again, we got stops when we had to absolutely get stops. Like, when we had to have it, freaking the defense finally got stops. So that right there, again, when halftime hit, it was just kind of like the team units kind of switched priorities. But I will say this right now. There is one person on this team outside of, Goff and a few others now you can't really say too much about. One of them is Michael Badgley. Because I want to say this right now. That 54-yard field goal that he nailed, we do not win that game without that field goal. And I'll tell you this right now. I know there have been a lot of fans whether it was Riley Patterson or Michael Badgley that had a lot of flack to give those kickers. But it's like, listen, Michael Badgley came through in the clutch when we absolutely needed him to make that field goal. And that right there was a huge, huge play for the Lions in that second half, because that ultimately was what gave us the victory, along with a couple of other things. So it's like, listen, that was a really, really high pressurized wild card game. And again, it was wild. It was a wild game, because if you sat back and watched that game, it looked like as if the Lions were going to probably find a way to lose that game. And in the end, they found a way to win it. And it all came down, I mean, you want to just talk about irony. It came down to the exact same damn play that the Lions ran 2 years ago in 2021 against the Minnesota Vikings to win their very first game of the Dan Campbell era. Think about it. You go back and you watch that freaking Vikings play. Take a look at what happens. Jared Goff is in the gun. He snaps. He looks to throw. He looks towards Amon-Ra St. Brown on the left side of the formation. St. Brown goes and runs that freaking victory route, that little like curl route that comes back to the quarterback. He sits down. Goff throws it into the end zone, touchdown. Take a look at what happened last night when the Lions had to get that last first down so that way they could do the 3 victory kneels and win the game. It was the exact same route. Maybe a different formation, but it's the exact same route. Goff snaps, Goff throws, it's to the left. St. Brown runs the exact same route, same exact kind of play, and they make the play, convert it for a first down, and then that's it. That's all she wrote. It's kind of, how do I put this? It's almost like as if the work that had been started in 2021 with that win, with that play, literally finished in a sense with that exact throw, exact result on Sunday night against the Rams. It was kind of like literally watching history repeat itself from one point in time to the next. And it was like the Lions were able to take all of that hard work, all of that repetition, all of that practice, and literally over the span of 2.5, almost 3 years, they made it work, and they won. So again, it's just kind of like the thumbnail image says, the monkey is finally off of the Lions' backs, because it's like, listen, now that you've won that playoff game, now the pressure is no longer on you to get that first playoff win in freaking 30-something years. Now it's about, okay, now you need to go out and you need to do it again. Because now the Lions are in a prime, and I mean it, they're in a prime position to really do some damage. And I'm going to just say this right now. As much as I hate the Packers really did the Lions a solid when they absolutely massacred the Cowboys yesterday. Because now the Lions get another home playoff game because the fact of the Packers beating the Cowboys. That means the Lions have the second highest seed now in the NFC playoffs because they're number 3 to the 49ers number 1. Which now means that whoever's the winner of the Bucs and the Eagles game, they're going to have to come and play the Lions. Well, let me think about this here for a minute. We beat the Bucs earlier this year on the road, so I feel pretty confident about us winning that game. And the Eagles this year have been in complete and utter total disarray over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and it has not been getting any better since they got into the postseason. So it's like, listen, whoever we play in that matchup, I feel pretty good. Which then, wait a minute here. Lions get a second home playoff game. There's a good chance they can win that second home playoff game. Wait a minute here. We just won the wild card. That would put us in the division. We win the division. We can get all the way to the conference championship game. Who in the hell thought at this point earlier this year we were getting all the way to the conference championship game? I put it maybe as a 50-50 shot we could do it. But at this point, I'm thinking we've got like a pretty solid shot of doing it, like 75-80% chance. Now, whatever happens between the Packers and the Niners is really going to determine if the Lions could make it to the Super Bowl, which if they could do that, I'm telling you this right now, it'd be absolutely just pandemonium, joyous, celebratory pandemonium in the streets if the Lions get to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you that right now, but I'm getting way, way ahead of myself. I just know this for the facts that they are. The Lions won a playoff game. The Lions won their home playoff game. They're going to get another home playoff game next week. And I'm telling you this right now, it is an awesome time to be a Lions fan. I remember watching it at the very end of the game. You see those fans in that one section, and you can literally just see the pure raw, unadulterated emotion on those people's faces. They are just beyond words. There's so much pent-up emotion that is coming out of them. They are on the verge of just bawling. Some of them are actually crying. And it's just like, that right there is what it means to be a Lions fan. All of that love that we have for our team, finally seeing us win, it was able to come out in the most purest form possible because we finally got to see that team that we have loved so much, that we have taken so much abuse from other fan bases, so much abuse from the national media for being fans of, and we finally got validation, vindication. We finally got it. And it was just like, dude, you cannot, under any circumstances, ever take that away from the Lions fans. It's like, listen, we finally got it. And we got it in the most sweetest, most emotional way possible, beating our old quarterback who had a homecoming to Detroit. We beat him, and it was just like, dude, it does not get any better than this. Like, I'm telling you this right now, this game for Lions fans, it will go down as probably one of the top 3 games in NFL history for them. I'm telling you that right now. This game is going to stay in Lions fans' minds and hearts and whatever else for probably the rest of a lot of Lions fans' memories and lives. Because this is a game that is literally going to be one that they talk about and replay on freaking NFL Network forever. That is how vastly important, how critically, just monumental this game was to the Lions. And it's just so great that I was able to watch it last night, be on live stream, and get a chance to talk about it this morning. It's just one of those things where I'm just like absolutely just ridiculously awestruck about how much this season has been for us Lions fans. But I'm going to end the episode here because this is one of those where it's just kind of like you have to sit back and you have to take it all in. You really do. And we're going to get another chance to do it next week. So, with that having been said, I just want to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you liked what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode that I got coming out today. And with that, I want to encourage y'all to please do one of these 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past, you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, please subscribe. I really highly encourage y'all to do that. But I also encourage y'all, after you subscribe, to make sure you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure we turn on that notification icon, so that way you guys never miss anything. And I also encourage y'all to do that by please doing this as well. Share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. And with that, folks, I just want to say, congratulations, Detroit Lions. Congratulations, Lions fans. Congratulations, Ford family. Congratulations, Lions organization. Absolutely congratulations go all around. And I just want to say to everybody, God bless. Thank you all for everything that you do, not only for me, but for the Lions in general. And with that, I'll see you all in the next episode.